You're walking and living in a world of chaos. It's how do you live in the eye of the storm? And how are you not affected by that? And how do you protect your energy?
Welcome to The Mindful Agent, where real estate success meets health, mindfulness, and personal growth. Join me, Michael Coxen, top performing agent, growth director, and co-owner of Magenta Real Estate, as I explore the intersection of wellness and business excellence, helping you thrive in both real estate and life. Today, we're joined by a truly inspiring guest, Ginger Campbell, known as the one who gets it done. Ginger's not only a top producing real estate agent, ranked in the top 2% of realtors in Clark County, I might add, but also a yoga teacher, meditation practitioner, dance fitness instructor, and member of the Las Vegas Aces senior dance team. Ginger's success isn't just about the deals she closes, it's about the space she creates, both in her life and for her clients. Through her yoga and meditation practice, she's learned to cultivate calm in the eye of life's storms, a skill she brings into her work as a real estate professional. Whether she's guiding clients through high-stress negotiations, coaching her agents to find their footing, or choreographing her next dance routine, Ginger finds ways to hold space for others while staying grounded herself. In this episode, we dive into the art of making space for your passions, your well-being, and the people you serve. Ginger shares how her yoga practice shapes her approach to real estate, why preparation and rest are non-negotiable, and how blending personal passions with professional pursuits has enriched her life. Whether you're an agent looking to thrive or a professional seeking balance, this conversation will inspire you. It'll inspire you to create space for growth, resilience, and connection. So, do you remember how we first met? I feel like it was a transaction.
We met, you're going to remember this, at one of our bike events at Lifetime Athletic Summerlin.
Perfect. Yes.
And we were talking, and you said, I sell real estate. And I said, you do? What's your name? And that's kind of how we all sparked the conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you do at Lifetime?
I am one of their senior coaches, and I do a lot of their group exercise programming. So I teach yoga.
Yes.
My passion is yoga.
And I've been in your class.
Oh,
you're
wonderful.
A great teacher.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And dance, of course, that's my first career. And we'll kind of touch on that a little later. And then I do some strength classes for active aging adults.
Okay.
Because I think it's very important to stay active, to stay healthy.
Yeah,
for longevity.
Extremely important.
Uh-huh.
So you do a lot of things.
I do.
Fitness seems to be at the center of your life.
It is. And I married my personal trainer. You're not supposed to do that, but hey, so he trained me when I was in show business. And so we were friends and we became very good friends. And one day after one event that we had coffee, he said, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? And I said, of course, I don't mind at all. And he said, can I ask you on a real date? And so that date led to over 25 years of marriage.
Amazing. How long ago did you meet your husband?
Over 25 years.
Okay, so he's obviously in fitness. You're in fitness. That's how you fell in love and met. How does fitness shape your life as a real estate agent?
It keeps me very grounded. It's a place where I can kind of let go, but I'm also working through problems and conflict resolution. And really, if you're breathing and you're giving that energy and that vibration to not the negative, but the positive, it makes me refocus, Michael. And it gives me a time to let go of my phone, turn off all of my social devices. And it's really making me strong so that I can be stronger for everyone else. But it also allows me to give back. That is my passion. That is why I won't give it up.
Why would you?
I wouldn't want to give it up. And I do coach a lot of agents. And I do say that it's very important for you to be healthy, get rest. I know that we always talk to how much rest are you getting? Mm-hmm. At least a minimum of 8 to 9 hours rest a night, and a nap to refuel.
I love it. Mm-hmm. You and I have the same philosophy. Mm-hmm. I think like we grew up in an era where that was not the norm, and napping was lazy. 100%. Sleeping 8 hours was lazy. And everybody kind of took pride in how little they slept and how late they stayed. And I'm burning the candle on both ends. You know, I feel a major shift happening in that mantra. How long have you, like, at what point did you realize that in your career that you needed to shift maybe to this rest cycle.
Well, here's the thing. When you're doing real estate as long as I have, those issues or those things that come up in our transaction, when you go to bed at night, nothing changes. So let it go. Let your mind be free so that you can rest and be able to tackle those problems in the morning, because I've brought it to sleep with me so many times. Then I went back to the rules of meditation. Your distractions are always going to be present, but it's allowing yourself to be with you, your isness, oneness, you-ness for a moment, and let this distraction go and not don't react to that distraction. And then when you move away from it, you have, your calm mind, and calm minds prevail.
Mm.
So I've taken problems to sleep with me long enough, but I said not anymore, because it always was there in the morning. And whether I worried about it or not, it's not going to change the outcome until I can address it the next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
love butchering quotes on this podcast, but
Uh-huh.
you're reminding me of one, let the wise guardians of sleep solve the problem. Read
Correct.
that somewhere once where, yeah, you can't solve it at 10 o'clock at night. Thinking about it more is not the answer. Just kind of letting it go, getting your rest, letting your mind compute, which, we know in REM sleep, that's where problem solving and brainwashing, all that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll wake up either with a resolution or at least maybe some peace with the problem.
Correct.
You're reminding me of figuring that out once in my career. Like I just wanted to work through the issue. And sometimes you just got to let it go. That's great that you do
True
that.
test of this, Michael, is I posted this on one of my social handles. When I go on vacation, we all relate to this. That's when the business is so top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to my husband, this is the year I'm not going to let business ruin our vacation, because I need to regenerate. I need that time. However, you give that to yourself, and the business is going to come because you let it go. It's like worrying where you left an object and you leave it alone, and it's going to show up the next day. You're looking for it too hard. You're looking for it too hard. And if you just calm down, put it away for a minute, you go back and you retrace your steps. You do. And then you usually find what you're looking for, whether it's an object, whether it's another client, whether it's another yoga mantra that I want to give to my practitioners, whether it's another adventure I want to go on with my passion, whether it's dance, this and that. That's why I came out of retirement and dance. And we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah.
But that thing in my gut was telling me, Ginger, this is your first career. How can you walk away without revisiting or saying goodbye? That's why I started taking more dance classes and not leading them as a coach. And then eventually an opportunity came up for me to come out of retirement and to dance for somebody very important in the Valley, the WNBA two-time world champions, Las Vegas Aces.
Go Aces.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So by letting it go,
Mm-hmm.
it came back to you in a way you never expected.
Correct.
Dance. How do you connect with that inner voice, that intuition, that gut feeling you said happened that made you go back into dance?
It leads everything. And what happens is it's a gentle whisper, and then it becomes a nudge, and then it's very loud.
When you say whisper, do you audibly hear something?
No, I feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
I feel it in my gut. I know energy because of yoga. I feel it when I walk in. It's a sense that you get, and you can't put your finger on it. But then after it all evolves and happens and you manifest it, and then you're sitting in that win or that thing that you've accomplished that your gut was speaking to, you go, okay, I got it.
Tell me your ritual to listen to your gut. Are you a meditator? How do you get your answers?
I absolutely am. I do guided meditation every morning. Sometimes I do unguided, but it's moments of silence where you shut the noise out. Now, it's still there. It doesn't remove you from it, but that's part of being in meditation and going inward.
Mm-hmm.
And the inward is the distractions are not going to let go. You're walking and living in a world of chaos. It's how do you live in the eye of the storm? And how are you not affected by that? And how do you protect your energy? It's just the same as any job preparation that you do. Yoga is about preparation of the mind to allow yourself not to be affected by the exterior world, but it doesn't remove you from it. It teaches you how to thrive in chaos
And to breathe through it.
and to breathe,
So yoga, it can be a painful experience for many. It's pushing the zones of comfort and discomfort, and then teaching you really to embrace, listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of parallels to life. And
Yes.
I find a yoga class does help most problems. I could wake up in a bad mood, wrong side of the bed, and a yoga class, I come out and I go, okay, it's going to be a better day today. Why is that?
You always think that they're speaking to you. But here's what I tell my practitioners. This moment was circled on your life, your map life, your life of map, your map of life. And thank you for allowing me to participate in that. And really holding space for people is exactly what I do for my real estate clients as well, that become my friends and my acquaintances. You got to hold the space. And this is also about ego and confidence.
What does that mean, to hold the space?
Hold the space means allow them to go through the storm, but be there to support, maybe through guidance of a pillow, an adjustment, or reviewing. It depends on what we're talking about with yoga or real estate.
I can't
It's
even
listening.
tell. You know what? You infuse the two so well. And I don't know if we're talking about yoga or real estate, and that's a beautiful thing. You obviously have figured out a way to blend these two things very well, and that's intriguing. So let's talk about real estate. Let's do an example of guiding someone through the storm. I'll throw an example at you of you represent a seller, and the repair request comes in, is 2 pages long, and everyone's freaking out, the buyer and the seller. You represent the seller. What's that conversation like with your seller?
And it happens many times.
Yes.
And I reference being a blended agent and what a blended agent is. And I coined that saying, or maybe I didn't. I just know that I'm a blended agent, but I am listing centric and I do have buyer clients as well. But being in both of those positions and wearing both of those hats, I'm able to advise sellers. This is customary. This is not customary. If it's habitability, Michael, it's something that will live with that property versus just aesthetic or just something that doesn't make the house mechanical, structural, or habitability. You're looking at it and we're dissecting it together. And there's ways to work their fear or telling them that the buyer is not asking for too much, but looking at it. And it does depend on the experience of the other agent as well. But being listing centric, I know pretty much what we're going to expect. And there's ways to counsel them, and that is through transactional experience. So it's about being creative and really being in their transaction. Not all transactions are alike, and different people need different things. Communication is big, but going back with that list and going back to the other side and saying, okay, let's break this down before I bring it to my seller. And these are the questions that I ask before I ever go to my seller or my principal, my listing. If I am the listing agent, I go back to the other side and we work through what their biggest issue is. And would it be something that is a condition of their loan? You got to find all that out because it's renegotiating again in the transaction that we've already settled into.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're stepping up first, having a conversation with the other side, and not shielding the seller, but more filtering the request in a way and packaging it in a way that's less threatening. Because sometimes it could be threatening, and even some sellers take it personally, and like an attack on their house or even how they live. So you have to really have that conversation with the other side and get a holistic view, and then deliver the package to your seller as far as what's customary and what they need to do. And honestly, what they would expect. Perhaps you mentioned being blended when they buy a house. Wouldn't you like the air conditioner to work, right? So you're the blended style. And that's showing empathy, which, as a mindful person, you do put yourself in everyone's shoes. And I think really good agents can do that. That's what agency is, right? It's not our house. We're not buying it or selling it. We need to be in everyone's shoes and connecting everybody and making sure things move forward so that their goals are achieved. Perfect.
One of my taglines also is, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth for both sides can be uncomfortable, but you have to remove yourself. Like you spoke, it is not about us, it's about the principles. And I think we take ownership too much, but
Yes.
we are the facilitators of the information.
You're also known as the one who gets it done. How'd
Correct.
you earn that title?
Oh, well, I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I've had many situations where I've taken my shoes off and I've pulled rugs, I've made beds, I've picked up things in the backyard that most agents would hire a company for. Photo day, you have a list of things that your job is to market the property. And how are you going to market the property? I'm looking at it and take ownership of that when I'm prepping. I want to make sure that there is nothing that a photo will show that doesn't show that property in its best light, because that's my job. So I'm going to roll my sleeves up. I'm going to hold laundry baskets out of the shot. I'm going to have their animals. I'm going to hold their newborn. If they're, I do
Yeah.
what it takes to get the job done. And I do have a team that comes with me.
Mhm.
So I'm very prepared, but I do also caveat my principles to let them know this is my process and this is why. It's always giving them the why.
That I think you get them to sign on with your process when they know why. I'm a questioner. My wife will tell you that. And I always just want to know why. I'm willing to do anything, but I have to know the reason. So I appreciate that as somebody, in a seller's shoes, for example. Why are we rearranging the furniture? And you have to have built trust with somebody in order for them to listen to your why and allow you to do it. How do you
Mhm.
build that trust?
Well, I also give them examples, and it's knowing it's everything preparedness for readiness. That's, everyone knows this saying, but are they truly prepared? I know my clients, and if it's a come list me, I'm going to research what I'm walking into. I'm
Mhm.
looking at historical photos. I'm doing everything so that when I'm walking into the competitive situation, I know how their home was marketed before if it wasn't me. I know environmentally what my challengers are going to be. I know I need to know the area. I need to know what is your biggest thing? What do you hire an agent for? If you are hiring me, what has worked and what has not worked in the past? And really, it's knowing all of that ahead of time on a phone call
Yep.
to prepare you for that in-person interview. I
Yep.
bring stats, I bring everything. And I always say, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to show you. So look
Mhm.
me up. I'm already actively doing these things in my business. So that first comment to them lets them know that they're in good hands transactionally. Everyone wins awards, Michael, but the referrals and the continued business and being a top producer for so many years, they know that you're doing something right,
Right.
that it's not just you got lucky because you may have sold someone a property and they can't not use you, but you have to be ready for even your best friend
Yep.
making a business decision. It is not personal.
So you're at a stage in your career, you have the awards, but you have the experience, and you
Correct.
walk in the door, and people have researched you. Let's talk to a new agent and
Hmm.
go back a couple steps, because you have earned that. I don't
Hmm.
mean to dismiss it. I just
Not
want to
at
speak to
all.
those who maybe can't walk in with a history of yours.
Hmm.
How does a newer agent establish that trust? You mentioned show, don't tell, and preparedness. Would you like to expound on that?
I think that a lot of companies speak to this of leveraging the successful agents within their brand. And there you have to be and align yourself with some mentor that knows the business and knows how to counsel the new agents. Of course,
Mhm.
we have new agents. Everyone started out as a new agent, and not everyone is lucky to come in with a book of business. So know your area, know the clients that you're trying to procure, know the area most importantly, but coach, do some feedback sessions, do some script practice. My opinion of scripts is they're a good template,
Mhm.
but let it be conversational,
Sure.
not be desperate, and be creative. How are you going to get into the community? Go and be around your social
Yeah,
networks.
and make the scripts your own.
Make the scripts your own. transition them to how it's applicable. I'm going to speak to someone at the gym different than I'm going to speak to a conference with other realtors
Mhm.
in a referral network.
Know
There's
your audience.
conferences. Know your audience, educate, 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 know the paradigm shifts.
These are all great tips anyone can do for free.
Mm-hmm.
Practice scripts, know your audience, research
Mm-hmm.
the data, know the area.
Uh-huh.
It requires no experience whatsoever. And a coach, I think, will get you there and tell you the same thing, but they'll get you there faster. They'll tell you what you're saying wrong and why. And words matter, but delivery matters more. And energy matters more. I really feel like when you mentioned earlier, creating a space, how I interpreted that was when I'm with a client or anybody, I want to let them know that they're in a safe space to just be who they are and to tell me what they need to tell me. I think a lot of conflict happens between clients and agents when there isn't an open line of communication and trust. And sometimes just asking a good question and being quiet and listening is all you need to do to build the trust and rapport. And it has to be from a genuine place.
Correct. Organic.
Yes. And when you're working through a lot in your career and you do find time for your passions, I want to go back to your passions. It seems like you are full of limitless energy, which as a yoga teacher, you can tone it down and read the room in a yoga class and keep it very calm and zen. And I'm sure you can bring the energy as you are today. This energy you have, where does it come from? How do you get it?
Well, I'm excited about my growth. And so I like to share that growth. I've always been tireless with effort, whether it's when I'm dancing on stage. And a lot of my coaches in the past have said, you never mark anything. You never do anything in a rehearsal mode, half of what you do in a professional. How you rehearse is how you perform.
Yep.
And that goes back to how you practice a script.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean verbatim, but how do you relate? How do you practice that script? And that's going to get you. The more you do it, the better you get at it. But you can't sit back and say, I'm going to be a great agent. And then you sit at an office smiling and dialing. That's great. And it has a place, but be out in the community.
So do you find being out in the community and practicing hard and rehearsing hard generates more energy? Because I think a lot of people have that, mistake in their thought process that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save it for the big day. I'm too tired. I want to
Mm-hmm.
rest,
Mm-hmm.
not practice. But you're saying the opposite. Practice hard. You'll have the energy to perform at your best.
You already know it. It's already there.
You're a rolling stone.
It's
Gather
instinctive.
no moss. Yeah, an object in motion stays in motion.
Correct.
But you are one who appreciates rest. So are you energy all day and then you get to bed at the same time and you get your 8 to 9 hours, you wake up and do it again and sleep and repeat?
Mm-hmm. It doesn't even change on the weekend.
Quick ask, if you haven't yet, hit follow or subscribe. It helps us grow and bring you even better content. Now, back to the episode.
It's 7 days a week. You have to commit to rest. People run on zero fuel and they can't be good. And then that's going to lead to sickness. And we're only as good as our last transaction in real estate. You have to show up for everyone. And if you're not healthy, that's the number one thing. Your mind is all over the place. You're caffeinated. I mean, you have to get the rest. So every night, same time. Now, my naps, they're different. It depends if I have a client. It depends when I take a fitness class or a dance class, aside from me coaching that class.
Maybe also the intuition. How do I feel?
I sleep when
when
it's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and be true.
I did it last night with one of my clients. I said, I'm going to be off my phone for a wellness break for 2 hours. I'll call you in 2 hours.
What a great phrase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A wellness break.
Mm-hmm.
How do you prioritize your day, whether it's your wellness breaks, the client texting you, the class you have? Tell me about, how you mindfully prioritize everything you have going on.
You have a to-do list, and every day your to-do list should have the items. Now you have to be flexible, but live out half of your to-do list. There are last minute calls I get. I don't do appointments that call me and say, come list me right now. Because of my process, I have to commit to that process so that I can give them the best version of myself. And I prepare. It's like anything else. You put your socks on to do a run. You're not going to go sockless without your socks because that's going to create blisters and all that. You break your rules. I learned a long time ago, don't break your own rules.
What a great analogy. I mean, you really have a way of tying in fitness and real estate, and I love it so much because there's a famous basketball coach who the first day of practice teaches the players how to tie their shoes, which starts with how to put on their socks, because putting on your socks an incorrect way will lead to blisters if you're a runner, a basketball player, soccer player. So you can't be the best runner or soccer player if you have blisters, right? Or, and a previous guest said this, you didn't sleep well the night before. So like your goal today is to be the best runner or the best agent and win the listing. Well, let's work backwards. Like, what am I wearing? How am I shaven? Am I going to eat well? Am I going to sleep well? The night before, did I pull my data? And just work backwards. And if you do all the things you need to do, the running part is easy. You just show up and run.
Preparedness for readiness.
Are you former military?
I am a military brat.
Okay.
Okay. I have family that is through and through military.
You're giving me military vibes with the preparedness and readiness.
Yes.
Has it ever become an obsession or a problem to be so prepared and ready all the time?
It does. And that's when not necessarily are you going to break your own rule, but through transactional experience or years coaching, you just dig in your toolbox, Michael. And that toolbox is, I know my job and I can make this happen. If this is the only thing, it is situational management. And that means that if I do get that come list me call, say they're going out of the country, I make it happen. I have those processes to those last minute things.
I see.
I also have a staff that supports me. So I'm communicating throughout my day because as a realtor, as a real estate professional, as a fitness coach, you have to be prepared for those moments of curveballs and those moments of last minute appointments.
Yeah.
You have to be.
So we talk a lot about, preparing for failure or preparing for road bumps. So you have systems, even though, yes, you might break your rule. You're like, okay, I have to break the rule. Rules are meant to be broken.
Correct.
But I have a backup plan. And I would imagine you're communicating to that seller who's leaving the country and has to meet, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is not my normal process. I want you to be aware because of the urgency. We're going to do it this way. But I want to assure you while you're gone, I'm going to be doing the full process, right? Something like that, communicating.
And there's processes, just like when you're marketing. There's virtual, there's social, there's direct mail campaigns. You have to live in all of those spaces in our world because you're dealing with different generations, your different personalities. You're dealing with people that communicate a different way. So you should be flexible in all of your processes, but you have your systems in order to where you're catering to each personality, and it's learning the personality traits. There's many. There's discs. There's the owls, the owls, the lambs, the bulls. We know all of these systems, and whatever you follow, that's how you live your life and how you not adapt to your personality, but who you're going to be sitting in front of. And that kind of relates back to holding the space. I'm going to hold the space different for different people that are in trauma than weight loss and different things. People in different spaces, even though we say a space is safe, that safe space may be tampered with. And that word safe is not always safe. So I say I hold the space for you for whatever you need individually. Because I'm not going to sell $1 million client and bring them a marketing proposal for a $50,000 condo. It's got to be pivoted to that customer or that space that I'm coaching in. I've got to know appropriately what's happening in that space.
Yeah. It sounds like you live a lot in self-awareness. What do you attribute that to? Where did that come from?
Just wanting to be a better version of myself every day.
Growth.
Growth. And I tell people when I do counsel and I am sitting in front of a group of realtors within our organization, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you lose clients and that's how you get better. You get better through failure. And it's not failure, it's an opportunity to skill up and level up and be real with yourself. That's when that ego is not confidence. You got to figure out what went wrong. Or you don't even say wrong, you're going to say area of growth.
Hmm.
What is my area of growth? What
Yep.
do I take away from this?
Sure.
And thank you for allowing me to take away that loss because it makes me a better version of myself. It makes me be able to be handling and really deal with customers in a different way.
Yeah. As Nelson Mandela said,
Yes,
I never lose. I win or I learn.
that's exactly right.
So true. Because you have to believe in the process that, and
Mhm.
again, failure is part of it, and quote
Correct.
unquote losses are a part of the process.
Everyone always just sees the wins.
Give an example of like a significant obstacle you faced in your
Oh,
career, perhaps just career, or maybe in balancing work and life the way you do.
mhm.
Give a story.
You start noticing that everything is changing. And you, again, we go back to that thing that speaks to you, whether it's a word, a feeling in your gut, intuition. For me, it was living in a space where a small brokerage, I'm comfortable, I'm the top of the leaderboard. But what's next? What I need more. It's that hunger to grow and be bigger. And one of those things for me was going to a franchise brokerage. It's good in a boutique, but when you have to give something to a franchise, but it's bigger than you have to say, okay, I trust the process. And I did it, and I can't look back because it was the best thing that I did. But really, for some people, it's getting out of your comfort zone. And if you don't, you're not going to grow. You're very comfortable, and that's okay if you're comfortable there. But if you want more and you're feeling like you need more,
Hmm.
that's what prompted me to seek
So you have become the biggest fish in a small pond, and you just, again, that feeling, that intuition, I want more.
more.
So you gave up what you were comfortable with, leapt into a bigger pond, and grew even bigger. What's next for you?
Gosh, what's next is coaching and giving back and really speaking to what we're talking about right now. How do you get successful in all of the things that you pursue? And one of those is education in your field and knowing what makes you happy.
Mm,
Being a coach, having teams, and giving back to agents that want it, and helping them understand it's not easy, and speaking the truth. I mean, our industry is growing. Even the fitness industry is growing.
hmm.
You're either going to change with it or they're going to leave you behind. So it's really listening to your gut. For me, it was going bigger,
Yeah.
but that's what I want to do. I want to get other agents and other coaches to be bigger and
Okay.
show them you don't wake up and go, oh, I'm one of the top in our industry. They don't see what goes on behind the closed doors. They don't see us moving and doing certain
Picking
things.
up things in the backyard.
Correct. They think it's easy because they want, some people want instant gratification. You're a beginner for 10 years.
Hmm.
In any industry that you do, you have to give it a
Yeah, the
chance.
10,000 hour rule.
Mhm.
Coaching is obviously a passion of yours, and you're a great
Mhm.
coach. You speak with authority and passion and experience.
Mhm.
Currently, how are you giving back to the community now? Beyond obviously inspiring those in your yoga classes and dance fitness classes,
Mhm.
what other causes are you passionate about here in Las Vegas?
Gosh, I am animal activist. So
Mm,
really it's people that don't have a voice and giving your time, right? Volunteering is big. And there's many organizations that you can get busy with. And it doesn't mean that you have to show up and work hours. You can actually take things home with you
mhm.
and be contributing in the community.
And even just having the conversations. I mean, like we are right
Correct.
now, making people aware.
Correct. And, just being out there and be willing to help. Be willing to help with events. I always say people do something and do things for something and give to charities and tell people what they did. Look at me, I posted this and I've contributed this. When you're doing charitable work, no one needs to know about it.
Mm,
Just show up.
mhm.
And that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
I want to be the silent contributor
right.
and help and really give and offer my time.
Yeah, and you never know where it leads. Like showing up for events. I mean, as you mentioned, that's how we met. We both showed up for
Mhm.
an event. So
Mhm.
something we cared about,
Correct.
right? We weren't there for any other reason other than we
Mhm.
cared about the cause
Mhm.
and the meeting and what Lifetime stood for, and that was it. And here we are today.
Uh-huh.
And you just never know where those relationships go.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of I think like just following the path and following the intuition. It's does this feel good or not? So if I looked at your calendar today, what would I see?
A lot of what gets done, and again, we talk about those moments that you have to pivot.
Mhm.
So I do carve out a little time for that, but what gets scheduled gets done. So you would see client SOI, you would see appointments, you would see counseling my team meetings, but a lot of education,
Both giving and receiving.
giving and receiving.
How about naps? Are they on the calendar?
They're on the calendar
Love
every
that.
day. Mhm.
I love that
They
so
usually
much.
start at 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, depending if I have an appointment after and or if I need to cook. But naps, any time in that range.
um, Tell me about your morning routine. I love to hear what people do. What time do you wake up, and what's the first hour or two of your day like?
My 6 a.m. morning wakes up and I usually drink water. Your body needs hydration after 8 hours of rest or 9 hours of rest. I then go outside, get vitamin D. Even when it's cold, I use a little bit of that cold therapy. I don't check emails and text messages right away. One of the things I usually try to do is either my guided meditation or unguided moments of silence. And then I get started. Yeah, actually, let me back up. I usually feed my dogs. So,
First things
yeah,
first.
they are in that routine,
Yep.
and then I commit to getting to my desk, answering emails, knowing what my day consists of the day before.
Mhm.
I know how how much time I have for
Mm.
each, and I allow for that time. Like today, I got a phone call last minute, so I was counseling someone. Said I must go because I need enough time to drive to my podcast.
Mhm.
They understood because
Mhm.
that you have to have some guide, some template.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
email, I feel, is sometimes the death of a real estate agent.
Hmm.
Email and text messages are often other people's needs and desires, and they're
Hmm.
trying to take away your time.
Correct.
But being in a customer service business, obviously that's always a tough thing to to balance. How do you
Hmm.
balance that?
Well, I learned this through a lot of my yoga education. Don't steal people's time and don't let them steal yours. End on time and begin on time. So I'll know, hey guys, I have an appointment in 20 minutes, but I wanted to reach out and let you know here's the update, but can I call you in 2 hours?
Mhm.
Communication and keeping them updated. That's how I carve my day out. If I'm going to be late for something, I'll say, hey, I'm going to be there in a few minutes. It's a
Mhm.
communication is always the key for everything,
Yeah. So
Michael.
always respond.
Always
Yeah,
respond
they say no response is a
is your
response, and if
response.
somebody texts you a question and you don't respond, they're taking that in a
Hmm.
negative way.
Hmm.
That A, I don't have time, B, I don't care. And it's true, you cannot have time, but you do care. So you want to say something such as
Hmm.
what you said. I don't have time now. I have 20 minutes, but we'll talk in 2 hours. It's all
Hmm.
anyone ever wants to hear.
Hmm.
They feel cared for.
Cared for. When I have a client and I have a lot of active listings, I'll let my appointment know I'm customer service and you would appreciate this when I'm working for you as well. My phone is here. I won't pick up for phone calls, but I am actively scheduling appointments and they're in real time. So if you don't mind, if I do get that call, I'll let them know I'll call them back, but I always want them to know that I'm available.
Mhm.
But it's not going to be that I'm going to take a phone call
Mhm.
because they want to know that you're available, but they want to know that you have boundaries.
This is true. At what
Mhm.
point do you turn off the phone at night?
My new boundary with and a lot of this is we speak to this in a lot of our businesses right now where your work life balance has gotten I would say it's been interrupted with COVID. Our work life balance became a living situation, truly, when we all pivoted to our home offices. So you have to commit. What is the last and latest time that you're going to speak to a client? And if you break that rule on boundaries, they're going to know that they can always get in touch with you. And you have to set that's a hard boundary. Mine is 7 p.m. There is nothing that we can't wait until the next day. After 7 p.m., we're doing home inspections, we're doing things that need attention, but your business and some of your clients, they work. You have to honor them as well.
Mm,
So you have to know when you have to give time. And sometimes your clients can't speak to you as well. I have a lot of clients that can't have their phone. They're government positions. There's positions that you cannot have your phone on your person.
mhm.
So you have to give them after hours, a little time after business
We do
hours.
have a lot of swing shift employees. This is a
Correct.
24-hour town. And
Mhm.
yeah, as long as that's being communicated, you
Correct.
can say, yeah, normally I don't answer my phone after 7, but I understand your schedule. So why don't we have a
Correct.
standing call at 8 or
That's
something
exactly
like
it.
that?
One of my business processes is I have seller update calls every Friday.
Perfect.
And I don't break that because that's my time with them to really educate them on where we are in the process. And if you set up all of those boundaries and you know their modalities, you know how you can communicate with your clients,
Mhm.
that's the first thing I ask. What are you looking for in an agent? And what are the modalities that you love to communicate on? And I use all modalities, but I say, what is the quickest? So I'll text them and say, hey, I sent you an email. Let me know when it's great for a phone call. I'm utilizing all modalities. I like to know how they like to communicate.
And you'll see how they reply to that.
Correct.
And it's your Friday in your calendar. I'd find seller updates at a certain time.
Hmm.
And I think if you communicate that to your sellers, they become custom and trained to communicate with you at that time. If it's not urgent, we don't need to talk about it on Thursday.
Hmm.
Maybe perhaps they start to save it for the call on Friday.
Hmm.
And that's super efficient and respectful, I feel like, for everyone's time.
Hmm.
Both ways. You know, some people out there, oh, that's not fair. There's like perception where you got to just answer the call and do that, but it is fair. It's fair for everyone that we have this standing appointment.
Hmm.
I think it respects everyone's time because nobody likes the back and forth per se on text and phone.
Hmm.
If I were your client, I'd be like, cool, I have a question for Ginger. You know what? I can wait till Friday. Very
Correct.
efficient.
And in our business, we're real time. If I receive an
Yeah, of
offer,
course.
I'm going to get that to them in
Call,
real
text,
time.
email.
I'll
Yeah.
text them and say, hey, I just emailed you an offer.
Yeah.
Do you have time this afternoon? And we're communicating how that shifts in our calendar.
Yep.
Real time items are you have a showing or
Yep.
you have an offer.
Yeah.
Anything else, market stats, transactionally, where we are in the transaction, that all waits until Friday,
Mhm.
unless there's something urgent that
Of
I
course.
need to discuss with them. But they know they're going to hear from me every Friday.
Perfect.
Hmm.
Same with me. It's Wednesday. There's always a
Okay.
report. And yeah, I love that. It's consistency for both parties.
Hmm.
And it keeps you accountable as well.
Hmm.
It's win-win. You mentioned that COVID throwing off our work-life balance and you have to create these new boundaries. I feel like we're now entering an era 5 years into post-COVID
Hmm.
where I personally feel like I'm figuring that out. And I talked in a prior podcast about having rooms dedicated for certain things. Certain rooms for work, certain rooms for eating, resting, napping, etc. The It's difficult to do, and creating
Hmm.
boundaries takes a lot of discipline. And work-life balance is a topic I always think about because I'm personally trying to achieve. In your life, have you found like a symmetrical balance?
I am not in my work life balance. I have a home office. Everything stays in that home office, even when I'm preparing for a coaching session. My yoga, I meditate in that office, but I do have a room that I meditate in. So I will go either my guided meditation because it's virtual,
Mhm.
but I do have a dedicated yoga room. I
Great.
do have a dedicated sleep room, which is my primary suite. No business is ever conducted in there. Fitness, real estate, whatever it is, that is for my rest.
Yeah.
That's for recovery. Everything has a designated assignment.
Yeah. You don't want to bring work energy into the
Mm-mm,
rest room,
mm-mm.
primary suite.
Correct.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
Gosh, I just like everyone to know that you get in what you put out. It's like I spoke to how you rehearse, you perform. So everything that you do it as best that you can and don't cut corners. Real estate is an expensive business to be in, but you can also leverage brokerages where you are and seasoned veterans. You can shadow people. There are many processes that we can use that are not a cost, but know your brand and stay true to your brand and understand what you're doing in the industry that you follow and love it. Don't do it for the money, do it for the passion and for helping people, whatever it is.
That's great advice. So, and how has dance as an art and dance as fitness played a role in shaping who you are?
It has given me the space to create what my mind is thinking. It also allows me to work through trauma, yeses and nos, and really understand who I am organically. When I'm moving a certain way, it fills my soul. In dance, it allows me to be confident because I am in front of an audience. So I'm a chameleon. Whatever costume I'm putting on, or style, or genre, I commit and I transform that persona and it fills me up. It's why I never give it up. And when I was given the opportunity to dance for the Las Vegas Aces, now that is a team of beautiful souls, and we're all over 50.
The dancers,
The
not the
dancers.
players.
The dance, of course, the players are fierce. But yes, the dance team, your minimum age is 50. And what a great opportunity when people say, why are the auditions so big? It's because where in any industry can you retire for 20 plus years and then come out in a professional arena and share your passion for an audience that appreciates it? I just love it. I love it.
That's beautiful. I can
Yes.
relate via osmosis. My wife is a dance fitness
Okay.
enthusiast and a wonderful dancer. And
Uh-huh.
the other day, I walked into the class to try to tell her something, and she was brought on stage to help teach. And the passion and the love that
Yes,
she exudes on stage, it just, I had a feeling of just observing it. You could feel the energy and how it really does, I think, cleanse the soul
it
and
does.
always makes something better. You could,
Mhm.
I wish I had that in me. What about those of us who can't dance? Give us some advice.
Gosh, it's about emoting. And when I'm looking choreographically at maybe a song, or when I was a choreographer, I don't do so much now, but the music that spoke to me was sometimes what I'm experiencing in my life. And I can tell the story through that music. Dancing, you don't have to be trained. Move. Movement is medicine. If there is a song that speaks to you, dance in your car. Do the lyrics. I don't know half the lyrics that I sing, but I'm singing something that makes me feel good.
Guilty of the dancing and the singing in the car.
Yes. Yeah, I'm moving.
I love my voice in the car.
Yes. I think I'm nailing it, but
Exactly.
you just feel it. It speaks to you.
Good.
And there's no one that hasn't moved in their bathroom when they're brushing their teeth and that song comes in their head.
Yeah.
There are affirmations that we give each other.
Mm-hmm.
People sing them now. When you're manifesting, it has to be specific, organic, and real.
Yep. The glass is always half full or sometimes overflowing with
Overflowing.
abundance and love. I love
Mhm.
that visual and sharing the abundance with your team and with our audience. And with that, I want to move into quickfire wisdom.
Okay.
All right. These are the same questions we ask all of
Uh-oh.
our guests.
Okay.
Try to keep it brief. See if we can keep it brief. It usually doesn't happen. What is the one habit you've developed that's made the biggest difference in your day-to-day life?
Consistently consistent. in meditating and being a better person,
They all are
putting
tied together.
myself in their shoes. And how are they going to hear or receive what I'm saying or doing?
So your number one habit, I think, paraphrase, starts with meditation so that you may put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Empathy.
Empathy. That's your habit, no matter who they are.
Correct.
Perfect. Do you have a favorite quote or mantra that you live by?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I always speak to this in yoga, and it is so true. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. And when you try to resist those changes, it creates sorrow. Let your energy flow in whichever way it sees and feels possible.
Namaste, Ginger.
Namaste.
Oh, great answer. Which book has played a significant role in contributing to your personal growth?
Oh my gosh, The Go-Giver.
What's The Go-Giver
Oh,
about?
wow. It's about how you give back, and there are several versions, but I am an audiobook person, and it's been years since I've listened to this book, and now I'm going to go revisit it again. But it's all in the title.
I think you just earned a new nickname
The
too.
Go-Giver.
I'm going to put that on the list.
Okay.
Thank you. Haven't read it. What's your favorite app or tool for productivity?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, the listing AI.
Okay. The listing AI.
Yes, but there's so many apps and tools now. Our AI tools are efficient and effective, but you also have to be a real person understanding what you're utilizing.
And what does this tool do?
I give it the content, and you decide on how you want that content to read and how you want it to read in your voice. So I like that it gives my voice flexibility.
And you use it to help you market your listings.
I do, absolutely.
Cool. The listing AI. We're going to link to it in the show notes. Give it a try ourselves. And last question: what's your go-to way to unwind after a long day of doing it all?
I always call this my brainless activity. I'm going to throw on a series. It could be love stories. It could be UFO diaries.
I love it. Did you see the one about the extraterrestrial in Manhattan?
Yes.
Yes, we just watched that one.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes, where she floats above the
Yes.
city.
Good documentaries, good docuseries.
Yes.
I love it. Us too. All right. Well, Ginger, thank you so much for joining me here in the podcast.
You're so welcome, Michael.
Really nice chatting with you.
You too.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, you as well.
As we close this episode, let's take a mindful moment together to reflect on Ginger's message about making space. Find a comfortable position, relax your shoulders, and take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Imagine creating space within yourself. Space to let go of tension, worry, or distractions. Picture each breath you take as clearing a path for calm, clarity, and connection. Ginger reminded us that making space isn't about escaping life's challenges. It's about learning to hold space for yourself and others while staying present in the moment. Whether it's guiding a client through a tough decision or navigating your own inner storms, this practice allows you to approach life with grace and balance. Take a moment to ask yourself, what space can I create in my life today? Maybe it's space for stillness and reflection, like a short meditation. Or perhaps it's space to be fully present with a client, colleague, or loved one. Let's commit to holding this space with intention, letting it serve as a reminder that balance and clarity begin within. Take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, let go of anything weighing you down. Feel yourself grounded, present, and ready to approach the day with a calm, open mind. Thank you for taking this mindful moment with me, and thank you, Ginger, for showing us how it's done. Thank you for showing us how to make space that can transform both our personal and professional lives. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. I'm Michael Coxen, and this is The Mindful Agent. Join me next time as we continue to explore the intersection of real estate, health, and mindfulness. Looking to grow your real estate career? At Magenta Real Estate, we put you first. Our entire business is built around your well-being and your success. With 100% commission, powerful marketing tools, and a supportive community that truly cares. Success starts within. Visit joinmagenta.realestate today.